is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
Oh, we're back in beautiful Pittsburgh tonight on a Friday night. This is a four-gamer that stretches through the weekend, and the Marlins opened in style last night, beating the Pirates by a score of 7-1. PNC Park, one of the most beautiful settings in all of baseball. Fly that flag high, block party going on. Everybody needs a Bob friend, don't they? Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Todd Hollingsworth. And the Marlins, a 7-1 winner last night. Edinson Volquez was still in no-hitter form.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic performance last night. Teetered a little bit early, but not much. Just with the command and the pitch count kind of going up a little bit. But he always seems to hit a stride, and boy, did he hit one last night. 7 solid innings, good offense, great win.
And the Marlins were up against the Pirates ace, and that was Garrett Cole. And they got contributions, the Marlins did, from up and down the lineup.
Yeah, certainly what you wanted to see, and it all started with a D. Gordon bunt. You just saw it right there. Everybody contributed. All the storylines that were supposed to happen last night with Garrett Cole struggling and this Marlins lineup roaring right now happened. Everybody in that lineup contributing.
And the Marlins with a 7-1 win opening the series tonight. The Fish are hopeful that the offense continues to roll. The pitching matchup tonight, well, not compelling. Both managers are hoping to get 5 or 6 innings out of their starters. We'll tell you about it when we come back as the Fish get ready to go against the Pirates here in Pittsburgh. We'll get those starters, we'll get those lineups, and we'll get that first pitch with the Fish and the Buccos. Brought to you by Jeep. Get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance event. By the Florida Department of Transportation. Drive sober or get pulled over. By your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Hey, and by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. PNC Park, Clemente Bridge is all lit up. Another very nice day in downtown Pittsburgh. Tyler Glasnow, the 23-year-old young right-hander, faces this Miami lineup, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Lots of thunder last night. D. Gordon in the leadoff spot. Giancarlo Stanton still hitting second. Christian Yelich, couple doubles, 3 hits last night. Marcell Ozuna in the cleanup spot. Derek Dietrich, a really nice night. 2 doubles, drove in 3. Tyler Moore had a couple hits and a double. JT Riddle 1 for 4 with an RBI. JT Realmuto gets the night off. AJ Ellis is slotted 8th, and Vance Worley will hit 9th.
And on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates, you see him right there, Tyler Glasnow. He's made 11 starts this year, 2-5 record, bloated .697 ERA, has only finished 6 innings 3 times this year. He has had all sorts of issues, missing bats. A lot of pitches out over the plate. He's getting hit hard. When he misses, he's walking guys. It's been a kind of a vicious little cycle he's been in. They continue to put him out there and give him an opportunity. He is still one of their top prospects. You see his line right there. 3 homers in that ball game as well. 5 innings. It's about as far as he's been getting.
Pittsburgh's defense behind the young right-hander.
Here you go for tonight's ball game. Pirates defense. Frazier gets to start in left field. Andrew McCutchen at home in center field. Gregory Polanco over and right. Freese, Mercer, Harrison, and Bell. Stallings gets the start behind the plate, along with Glasnow on the mound.
Oh, 75 degrees, just gorgeous. Humidity not an issue. Strawberry Moon is not a kid's cartoon character. Apparently it's a or a song. I guess it's a phase of the moon.
I'm with you.
We look for another look for another gorgeous sunset like we had last night.
Right. Well, the sun's come out. It was kind of a gray day today, this afternoon. I think a lot of people around here thought maybe it was going to rain a little bit. Now it's turning into a beautiful evening.
D. Gordon in the box. First pitch, Glasnow throws a strike at the knees. And this ball game is underway. Giancarlo Stanton, Christian Yelich to follow. Sam Holbrook calling balls and strikes. Greg Gibson, Jim Wolf, DJ Rayburn from first on around towards third. Ooh, Glasnow, who is big, 6'8", 5th round pick. It's a guy that pitched at 3 levels last year and pitched very well at all 3. And a breaking ball. Gordon pulls it foul.
Yeah, has flown through their system. One of their top prospects. Certainly they believe in his stuff, and you've seen it already. 96, 97 miles an hour. He's 23 years old. Big right-hander, 6'8". Got good leverage, all the ability in the world. Ray Searage raves about this young man, but he's had some bumps here to start his career in the Berg.
He's happy not to see the Mets. That's who he's faced his last 2 starts. Fastball, Gordon rips it by a diving David Freese. D around first, and he opens this ball game with a line drive single to left. And that brings Giancarlo Stanton up.
Well, lots of velocity on the fastball. You see it right here, but not a lot of movement. That's what Glasnow is lacking. You see the elevated fastball, able to smash it down the left field line past the diving Freese. Marlins are off and rolling again.
Stanton now. Giancarlo 1 for 4 last night. Something to watch tonight. Glasnow is big, takes him a while to unfold. Stolen bases, and he's not been good at holding runners. 12 of 16 this year are base stealers against the righty.
Absolutely. His problems have been compounded. He's not a good defender either.
Gordon runs, pitches a strike, throw down to second. Safe at second base is D. Gordon. And that's stolen base number 21.
And that's a good throw by Stallings, but he steals this on Glasnow. Look how much he has to, once he picks that front leg up, how long it takes him to get rid of the baseball right there. Josh Harrison, even a good throw. D easily into second base.
Stallings, the young catcher we talked about, his father Kevin is now the head coach at Pitt, head basketball coach, longtime Vanderbilt coach. He is known for a good throwing arm. The Pirates on the phone right now. They're going to challenge that D. Gordon is out. Huh. Well, We'll take a look at it ourselves for the first time.
Well, the D when he did the pop-up slide, I wonder if he transfers feet. So
there's the tag.
Got him up high.
Now we'll see.
He's still there though.
Is the foot turning while the bag is
yeah, I wonder.
yeah,
no, he did it. That's a clean transfer right there. You see him going from the left foot to the right foot right there. I thought maybe that would have been the case.
Audi brings you this replay. Well, that last look is probably the best you're going to get. It's a super slow-mo look. D pointing to his side. Harrison and he looking up. The scoreboard here
having a good time out there.
Started to show a replay and then stopped at the crucial moment, leaving a lot of players wanting more. They're all staring up at the scoreboard. The home plate umpire, Sam Holbrook. Jim Wolf, the second base umpire, there as well.
Now watch Josh Harrison after he tags him right there.
That wasn't a hey, look at this. It was sort of a shrug.
Well, you know what?
Is there a lot? Look.
Hey, listen, if you do that, then you're safe, because that's the question we've been asking all year long. If they're, hey, you can't overturn it with what he's got, and they just did. How about that? Even Josh Harrison was unsure.
Well, D. Gordon in a bit of disbelief. He's actually going to intercept Jim Wolf on his way out. But Jacob Stallings gets a caught stealing there.
Wow. Well, maybe there's an angle in there that we didn't see. Very hard to tell. As the right field camera right there, as he's sliding in, certainly still looks to me like his foot was right at the bag as he was getting the tag applied to him, and because he was called safe, I didn't see enough to overturn it.
Back to the regularly scheduled at bat. It's 1-1 to Stanton, and a breaking ball from Glasnow misses down low. D. Gordon still with a healthy bit of doubt. Stanton sounds like a busted bat, ends up at left field. Frazier runs it down and makes a catch on the warning track. Auto Nation gives you the scouting report.
All right, here you go. Tonight's scouting report for Tyler Glasnow. It's in the genes, no doubt about it. It comes from two stellar athletes for parents. Mom was a gymnast at Cal State Fullerton. Dad, a decathlete at Notre Dame. How about that? He's a towering giant, 6'8". Guess this. Get this, size 17 shoe to go along with it. Really started to come into his own in high school. Became the Pirates' #1 prospect, and #3 is the transition. You see it right there. That's what I'm talking about. Coming into tonight's start, this Pirates organization believes in him, but he has not been able to bring it all together so far this season at the major league level. You saw the 6.97 ERA. You're going to see the fastball, the curveball, and the changeup tonight, but he's really struggled with that fastball.
There's a strike to Yelich. One more look. You know what?
But see, for me, I mean, having done that so many times in my life, the bottom spikes, the spikes that you don't see that are on the ground.
Yelich bangs one up the middle. Mercer has it, fires to first. We'll take another look at that when we get back. D. Gordon and the Marlins quieted in the first. Marlins got that hit from D. Gordon, but nothing to show for it. Here come the Pirates. Adam Frazier's in the leadoff spot. Josh Harrison, a couple of hits last night. 14-game streak against teams from the East. Polanco, Freese, and Bell. McCutchen, Mercer, Jacob Stallings, and Tyler Glasnow will hit ninth. Vance Worley now. Worley 0-2 with an ERA of 6.5. Makes his 4th start for the Fish.
Yeah, you're going to see the fastball, knuckle curve, and changeup. Had a lot of success in this ballpark, though. Nice run in 2014 and 2015. There you go. There's the numbers to go right along with it. 11 starts in this ballpark, 9-3 record, 2.73 ERA. Does a very, very nice job. I went back and looked at that 2014 and 15 season from him.
Drive to left center. That ball's hit pretty well. Yelich and Ozuna after it, and neither will get it. Ozuna runs it down at the track, and Adam Frazier has a double.
There aren't too many parks in baseball nowadays where you see a deep fly ball die without actually getting to the track between two outfielders, but that's PNC Park for you right there. Long way to go, both for Yelich and Ozuna on this one. You see Frazier picks on a fastball elevated away right there. And this is just going to land between them because neither could actually get to the spot. It just speaks to how big this ballpark is.
Worley was a Pirate for 2 seasons, 14-15.
I went back and looked at his pitch sequencing in the number of pitches he was throwing.
That one banged down the right field line, and to the wall it goes. Stanton gets it. Harrison to second. Scoring is Frazier. 3 pitches in. The Pirates have 2 doubles and a run.
And another elevated pitch. Vance Worley, I think he knows he's got to start to get this ball down, or it could be a short outing again. Look where this pitch is. It's above the belt right there. Easy for Josh Harrison to think the other way and go the other way. He just leveled off right through the strike zone right there and drives it into right field. Little flip-flop with Frazier and Harrison. 1-0 Pirates.
Then you got Polanco, Freese, and Bell.
At some point I'm going to tell you what he did in 2014 or 2015. I'm not speaking fast enough tonight, apparently. 3 pitches in, my goodness.
Polanco goes after the first pitch, pops it out into left. Ozuna there, and he makes the catch. All right, let's do some defense, shall we?
I'm going to try and take a breath. A lot of action, 4 pitches in. All right, let's take a look at the Marlins defense tonight. Ozuna, Yelich, and Stanton is your outfield. Dietrich, very nice game last night. Riddle, D. Gordon, Tyler Moore over at first base. He too had a very nice game. A.J. Ellis gets the start behind the plate. He's coming off a couple multi-hit efforts. Vance Worley on the mound.
Derek Dietrich, big night last night. Couple generation of Dietrichs here last night to watch him. Bouncer up the middle. D. Gordon has it. Harrison scampers to third. One thing is apparent: the Pirates are firing at the first pitch they see.
Holy cow! 4 hitters, 5 pitches in.
And here comes Josh Bell.
Well, to the Pirates' approach, Rich, I'll say this. Every one of these pitches is up and out over the plate. I mean, I certainly understand it, although it does seem to be ultra aggressive for early in a game.
Bell, who takes over at first base this year, switch hitter. And that one down near the shoe tops. Just 24. Out of Dallas, Texas. Had a nice start to his major league career last year. 45 games. Striking, it's 1-1.
See how productive he's been lately. Pinch hit last night, hit a double. He's had RBIs in 4 of his last 6 ball games. 11 home runs on the season. Very impressive as well.
One and 2. Bell came in late last night. Of course, Edinson Volquez, 7 innings, no runs, And just 3 hits. Bell, center field, Yelich on over and there and makes the catch. Early ambush by the Pirate hitters. Couple doubles to start and a 1-0 lead.
The telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and the descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
In Pittsburgh, Clemente Bridge is open on a Friday night. Crowd still arriving here, over 20,000 Thursday night last night. And of course, just across the river, the Penguins of Pittsburgh were wiping out the Predators of Nashville and taking a 3-2 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals. This is Marcell Ozuna, and that's a strike. Derek Dietrich, Tyler Moore follows here in the second. Tyler Glasnow gave up a D. Gordon single. Gordon was caught stealing on a play in which he was originally called safe and then overturned by replay, leaving a few Marlins to scratch their head in the dugout. Jacob Stallings with a good strong throw. And the 1-1. Ozuna gets the hands through better than anybody in a Marlins uniform. He takes an inside pitch and lines it to left.
Well, a big part of what he does is the balance at the plate. It's also that weight transfer. Doesn't get out on the front foot. Stays right through it and cuts it off. It's good velocity. And you're starting to see what Glasnow's issues are. He's incredibly vertical towards the strike zone. Doesn't have a lot of horizontal movement. Nothing that sweeps across the striking zone. The strike zone. So when you see the ball out of his hand, you pick the lane that it's in. It stays in that lane. And that's easy for hitters to start picking up on early.
For some of us, that's good advice, right? Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Not necessarily for a fastball.
Well, if you're looking, I mean, even for Vance Worley, I was thinking back to his successes here in 14 and 15. His two best pitches were the two-seam fastball, which is basically a sinker or a fastball that will run, and his cutter / slider. That's what was so good for him. If you look at Glasnow right now, lots of velocity. You say, "Whoa, man, this kid's throwing hard. How's he not getting guys out?" But when you watch, he's 6'8". Hitters pick up his ball early. When he enters the hitting zone when you see the ball, either the fastball or even the breaking ball, it doesn't change lanes. Watch. Nothing sweeps. You watch, he's throwing the ball to the glove right now, and it's going to stay where it's supposed to go. There's nothing that sweeps into it. And I guess really what I'm getting at, cutters, sliders, sinkers all have late movement. That's not in his repertoire.
Dietrich, fine night last night. Couple doubles and a single, drove in 3. And he lines this one into right center field. That's a hit. Ozuna around second. Ball's bobbled. Dietrich, big turn, and he'll hold it first. And Miami opens the second with 2 more hits. Dietrich stays hot, and that brings Tyler Moore to the plate. And you see his grandmother, his great aunt up there, his father, his mother coming over from Cleveland. Not a bad trip to come to Pittsburgh.
Well, I expect to see them in Miami when we get home after the series he's had so far here in Pittsburgh. 4 hits already. Goodness gracious, on his game. You can see right there, Dietz cut that ball off as well, driving into center field. The Marlins are right back in business.
Tyler Moore had a big hand in last night's game as well. RBI double and an RBI single. Pirate infield back for 2. And Glasnow with a breaking ball for a strike. Moore, the former Mississippi State Bulldog. Pitch is out. Stallings a throw. And a dive back in by Dietrich. He likes to throw. Remember, we talked about his college career at North Carolina. He set a school record. He threw out 32 base runners.
He understands it's certainly a way you can help pick up your pitcher when he gets in trouble. He's got a clean lane to first base with Moore being in the box right-handed right there.
Moore drives it to right. Back goes Polanco. At the trap, makes the catch, tagging is Ozuna, and he will score. Nicely done by Tyler Moore. Sacrifice fly ties this ball game.
Yeah, continues to take that real strong right field approach. He started in Chicago. He's staying on the ball, driving it to right field. Does his job once again here. Runners on first and third, deep fly ball, gets the job done. So coming into tonight's ball game, Tyler Glasnow, his fastball, you've seen it, 95, 96, 97 miles an hour. Get this. His 4-seam fastball, hitters are hitting 354 against it. His 2-seam fastball, 362.
Riddle had an RBI single late in the game last night. Fun game for the Fish offensively. And then Volquez going out and looking just like he did when he threw the no-hitter. In fact, what he accomplished last night hadn't been accomplished in 26 years. Pitch is out. He followed up a no-hit performance by going 7 innings, allowing no runs and 3 hits. First pitcher to do that, all of those things, check all those boxes, in over 26 years. Tommy Green in his no-hitter at 91 was the last time a guy.
Tommy Green, Phillies?
Yep. And the last time a guy came back with a start like that. Riddle cranks one into right field. That's a hit. Dietrich to second, stops there. And A.J. Ellis comes up. Miami has hit the ball hard here in the second.
4 consecutive quality at bats. You see the fastball down even below the knees. Riddle, very good fastball hitter. Certainly likes that part of the strike zone. Picks on that hole over there at first base and gets himself a knock.
So first and second, A.J. Ellis getting the start tonight. JT Realmuto to start with, a night off. And Ellis steps out. You got Worley on deck. A 1-1 start. Miami and Pittsburgh. Ball in the dirt. And Stallings gets the glove down and knocks it down. We had a chance to run into his dad last night on the way out of here. Kevin Stallings, who, if you've
Very
ever
nice man.
been around him, I've had a chance to call some of his games as the head coach at Vanderbilt. What a proud papa.
Sure. He was still buzzing last night, just seeing his son get into the ball game.
Well,
he knew he was starting tonight.
Yeah,
too.
he knew he was starting tonight. His son
Probably here
texted
somewhere.
him. Ellis trying to fight that off. The count's 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'll get it ready, kid.
AJ, of course, the last time we saw him at the plate, it was that epic at bat, right?
Yes.
14 pitches, line drive single.
You see that batting average climbing up over 200. Good at bats.
Busted bat this time. Bell's going to sweep it over to first. Glasnow has to find the bag, tags it. And you've got now Dietrich at third and Riddle at second. It's 3-1 on the putout. And it's Vance Worley trying to advance his own cause here, not going to run.
Yeah, it certainly would help it. Base hit will score 2.
Worley in his career a 138 average. He's 1 for 3 this year though. And he hits a sharp grounder off the glove of Freese. Miami gets a run. Worley gets another hit, and the Fish lead it 2-1.
Vance Worley proving he can swing the bat. Remember, his last base hit was a line drive into left field. Smoked it. We were talking exit velocity for Vance. Jumps all over a pitch. First pitch. Check this out. It's got to be. I was noticing how close he stands to the plate as well. Great swing of the bat right there, and I can promise you this: David Freese was a little surprised how well Vance Worley hit that ball.
That is a big, big run for Miami. And here's D. Gordon. Gordon hit a line drive single past the diving David Freese to open up the ball game. Curveball for strike 1.
5 hits first time through for the Marlins against Glasnow. All singles. Last night we were talking doubles. Tonight we're talking base hits.
There's the velocity, 96.
Well, he did this last time to D, first time up, and then missed. Made 2 great pitches to get ahead, and then left one up in the zone at the same velocity, and D slashed it into left field.
That one fouled at the plate. Gordon's batting average up to 280. He's on base right around 330. Trying to stay alive in the count 0-2. Worley's at first. JT Riddle at third. Worley is running. Gordon is hitting. He lines it to right. Polanco's there and he makes the catch. Vance Worley had a terrific jump. Miami rises up and puts 2 on the board. It's 2-1.
In Volquez's bats. In fact, he just signed these 3 right here just a few seconds ago for this young man. So we're going to give him these bats. Volquez in the game last night, he said he had only 2 bats, and Garrett Cole broke both of them, and he was able to get another one today. And he also said that ankle that he's been dealing with, well, if it gets better, he's got some ideas.
When I fix my ankle, I'm gonna hit it again with a bat. Keep it the whole year like that. I don't have to be right. I just keep it, keep it sore, and I'll be fine.
Volquez, guys, was serious when he said with an ankle that's a little tender, he's not jumping off the mound. He's got to really watch his delivery coming off the rubber, and he really feels that's been a big difference in how well he's pitching. So he joked, hey, he might have to batter his ankle when it gets better.
Yeah, he and Cole right now are having a conversation. Obviously, they are friends. They were teammates for that really nice season that he had here. And so the conversation goes on in the middle here. See?
Edinson just told me, I asked for an update. He said the bat is on its way. Well, he said that about 2 hours ago. He's still waiting for that bat from Cole. And he wants it. He was serious. He said he had to use D. Gordon's bat, and it was too light after he broke the first 2.
Speaking of D. Gordon, just to follow up on what you said about the ankle, it was the pitch to McCutchen. Remember, D. Gordon, when Volquez was limping around after that first out, and there was a question as to whether he would return. When he decided to give it a go, Gordon turned to JT and Real Muto and said, look, now he's going to pitch a no-hitter. And you know what? He did. And if you ask athletes and basketball players in particular, and D. Gordon, a terrific basketball player, sometimes when you have a foot injury, an ankle or something, all of a sudden you start to shoot better. Because
takes your mind off it.
You start to think a little bit more and about your fundamentals and all of that. And that's exactly what's happened to Volquez.
Well, you also think about your ankle a little bit more, and you're more cautious and you're a little bit more conservative because you don't want to leave the field of play. You don't want to give up your start. You don't want to stop playing. And in order to do that, you've got to be more reasonable, more under control, if you will. And you heard Edinson talking about that. Although I recommend not hitting the ankle with a bat. That would be a bad idea.
No,
maybe just eat chicken or something.
Well, maybe just go easy and worry about your fundamentals and slow things down.
Well, I'm thinking maybe it was something else that, he's talking. You're right.
McCutchen bluffs. Breaking ball misses.
Isn't it funny how superstitious athletes are, though? Amazing, right? Even to hear him, even say it out loud. I mean, we all think that same way. He's like, okay, whatever I was wearing that day, I'm wearing it again. Whatever happened to my ankle needs to stay that way for as long as I can keep it there.
Meanwhile, you've got A.J. Ellis trying to get Vance Worley lined up here. Worley got knocked around, gave up 2 doubles in 3 pitches, and the Pirates were swinging early and often. Here in the second, McCutchen has walked. You got Mercer, Stallings, and then the pitcher.
Well, that's a classic reaction to what the Pirates did to him in that first inning, the ambush. Now he's coming out trying to make better pitches than he's missing. Got to get him in his lanes.
He's falling behind 3-0 here. Let's take a look at that last pitch. That's a strike.
He's in the zone. Out over the plate as well. Getting any help.
There's a strike.
Pretty much the same pitch.
Well, sometimes when you miss and you're not throwing strikes, sometimes that borderline pitch you don't get.
It's not the way it's supposed to be.
Understood.
Just saying.
Fastball, fly ball. Stanton's there. He makes the catch.
You're right. That's the 3-0 thing that we used to deal with back in the day.
For hitters, it's the opposite, right?
Right.
It almost comes back to bite you as a hitter. That 3-0 pitch, if it's in the neighborhood, is usually a strike.
I remember, I want to say it was my 2nd or 3rd year in the game. I took a ball that bounced and it got called strike on a 3-0 pitch. There was dirt. Glove was on the ground, ball short hop, strike. It was over the middle of the plate, but it was down, way down. I looked back and just gave me the old, yeah, it's a strike. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
There was Stallings. Although one of the things that the umpires, a shift in the philosophy probably 5-6 years ago, rather than, hey, you just want consistency, that's been gone a while now. Now it is accuracy.
Right.
And the feeling is, if you get accuracy, then you have consistency.
Correct. Well, and the accuracy is a big part of this, because what accuracy leads to is, okay, well, if there is an accuracy, then the threatening of the the robot ump conversation always starts, because that's what you will get if it's brought in. I mean, they're not going to bring it in until they get it right, but once it's here, it's going to be here to stay, and it's going to be right all the time.
No doubt, along with it will be robot announcers. So you and I,
how's that going to sound?
You and I and Sam Holbrook will be on a park bench somewhere.
That's right.
There's a strike. That's 0-2.
Stallings looking for his first hit this season. You see it last night. Got into the ball game late. Nice little run with the Pirates last year, about 15 at bats worth.
One and two. McCutchen has bluffed a couple times. Worley's always been tough to steal against in his career. Outside corner. That is strike 3.
Now we've talked, I told you, when he's at his best, certainly here at PNC Park, that's the kind of action that he's getting. He's living on those corners. Talked about the excess in 14 and 15 as a Pirate. 2-seam fastballs and that cutter / slider that he likes to throw, and it's working across the plate.
He didn't get the 2-0 pitch, but he did get that, and that was just off the plate. Here's Glasnow. Glasnow swings and foul tips it into the glove of A.J. Ellis.
He's that weird combination, right-handed thrower, left-handed hitter. He's 5 for 15, so I get it.
Six bags this year.
Look out.
Worley, as a Philly, pitched here all the way back in 2012. And the oddity of this series for Miami is that 3 of their 4 starting pitchers were in the Pirates rotation in 2014. That's strike 3, inside corner. Volquez last night, Worley tonight, Jeff Locke on Sunday. The ex-Pirates going back to haunt their old club. Miami on top. It's been quite a 24 hours here in Pittsburgh. Of course, the Marlins in the next 24 hours are right back here on the diamond. 4 o'clock start, 3:30 for Marlins Live. Dan Straley going to go for the fish. Trevor Williams for the Pirates. Marlins 7-1 winners last night and a 2-1 lead here tonight. Weather's supposed to warm up this weekend. It's been very, very nice last night. Gorgeous 2 days here so far. Lorenzo Bundy is back on the bench, and that's great.
CeeLo.
Some health issues in Chicago. Had to stay behind, and he has rejoined the team. A lot of the Marlins, when he walked in the clubhouse, came over. Very happy to see him back. Stanton now, and he takes down low at an 89-mile-an-hour changeup. Stanton, Yelich, Ozuna. Giancarlo busted his bat and hit a fly ball out to the warning track in left. That's a high pop that seemingly from this vantage point climbs over all the skyscrapers and the skyline of Pittsburgh and lands in foul territory.
I think where we are up here, I know that it's a foul ball before they know it. We're so high. I mean, we're up here with the top of the foul ball.
Stan sitting at 15 homers and 14 doubles. He fights off a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Yep, we are at the very top of beautiful PNC Park, and we can see right out there. Stanton drives at center field and deep and over the batter's eye. Wow, it bounces back onto the warning track, up on the very top of the batter's eye. It kicked back into play. A mammoth home run for Stanton, number 16, and Miami has a 3-1 lead.
I'm speechless. That's the one, Rich. You've been promising me all year long that we were going to get one of these, and that's it. There it is. He's had some impressive ones this year, but that was the cameraman we were waving at 5 seconds ago. Are you kidding me? How about turning that? I've never seen that before. That's over the batter's eye here in Pittsburgh. Holy cow.
I think that may have hit the camera out there in center field. Watch where this goes. Over the batter's eye. I think it hits like a railing. Yeah, it hits the rail and comes back.
It doesn't hit the rail, it leaves the ballpark.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yelich lifts one towards the corner. Frazier makes a catch just in foul territory. All right, early return on that home run actually is a 449. 111 miles an hour off the bat. It's 399 to straightaway center. And then you've got that hill, and then you've got that.
All I've got is wow. That's the only way to describe what we just witnessed.
Ozuna, my goodness, a missile to left. And he is 2 for 2. And right now the Marlins are barreling up Tyler Glasnow. Here's Dietrich, who had 3 hits last night and a single tonight. That's one of the home runs at 449 with the StatCast that you're going to look at the other service that does the distance, Hit Tracker Online.
Feels like there's an injustice going on right now.
At ESPN, and just to see where they have it.
Yeah. Watching him coming around second base, and he kind of semi-cracks his smile as he was heading see Freddie and slap hands at third, and you could tell he knows that's one of the better ones he's hit this year.
By the way, Ozuna's single was 111 miles an hour off the bat. Dietrich drives that out in right center field. Polanco charges in and makes the catch. Well, you noted Stanton coming around third.
That's the look I was getting at. He's trying to be respectful right there. Freddie was probably telling him something as he was coming around third base. Like, did you get that, you think?
Tyler Moore now drove the ball to the warning track in right for a sacrifice fly.
7 hits for the Marlins here in the third. Real nice at bat by Tyler Moore, first time up. Deep sac fly to right. So very nice job filling in for Justin Bour.
Ball in the dirt. Ozuna thought about it, and he holds at first. Now look, in this ballpark, the tape measure homer that's been annotated and talked about is the one that goes into the river in right for a left-handed bat. And I believe at this point there's been only 3 that have gone in. Darrell Ward, Garrett Jones, and a player to be named in a moment. Pitch misses out. Pedro Alvarez is the odds-on favorite to be that third guy. But my point is this: while everyone's been watching to see who could hit in the river, I wonder how many balls have been hit over the batter's eye like
None.
that. And that's we'll put our crack staff on that. How many have been hit over the batter's eye?
0.
That one,
about this one?
drilled to left and deep and gone. Tyler Moore. My goodness. The Marlins are absolutely crushing the ball tonight. 2 more RBIs for Moore. 2 more runs for Miami, and it's 5-1.
Tyler Moore picks on a 2-0 fastball. My goodness gracious, that got out of here in about a second and a half. Impressive swing. Look at this fastball out over the plate. Told you doesn't change lanes too often.
Woo-wee.
Take a ride on that one.
That absolutely sounded crushed as well.
Got a little chill.
So 5-1. Stanton hit one over the batter's eye. More of a line drive that creeps over that wall and left. Pirates bullpen is starting to scramble.
It's Wade LeBlanc, the lefty. Get loose down there.
JT Riddle is the hitter. Tyler Moore, 393, 105 miles an hour off the bat. And Glasnow misses down and in. 10 home runs and 11 starts coming in. 2 here in the third inning. Miami already has compiled 8 hits.
2 long home runs. It's not a lefty-righty thing. It's a stuff thing right now for Tyler Glasnow. Too many pitches out over the plate. This Marlins team has been so good lately, collectively. Won 9 of their last 12. In those 12 ball games, they've been averaging over 5 runs a game. 64 runs scored coming into tonight.
A lot of buzz in that dugout right now. Full count to Riddle. He's got a couple hits in this series. JT Riddle is center field. And McCutchen underneath it makes the catch. Miami adds on. Boy, do they ever. Long home run for Giancarlo Stanton. That opened the inning. Tyler Moore closed it. And it's 5-1 now. Man, was that a blast. If you are unable to watch that on television, hey, just stream it live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Just download the app, take Fox Sports Florida Marlins baseball with you wherever you go. Love that promo too, because I believe that's the home run in the little box that Stanton hit out of Dodger Stadium. He darn near hit one out of this ballpark.
Shouldn't that qualify as out of the ballpark if it hits the back rail? I mean, that railing's not there, and of course it's there for safety reasons. And you know, obviously there's the cameramen up there. I'm not trying to be silly here, but
Frazier to center. Yelich going back, and he's there, and he makes the catch.
I think you know what I mean. I mean, that ball was over the batter's eye, and it hits it, hits the metal railing and comes back on the field. That should count as leaving the ballpark. You're giving me a no answer. Come on.
Well, I think in that area, if it goes over that rail, it ends up in Manny Sanguillen's barbecue, which I believe is the barbecue still behind the batter's eye? Well, you see the smoke coming up from behind it. There's a breaking ball and a strike. Manny's got a barbecue back behind there. And the good news is we've got Craig Minervini on it, and so he's going up there.
Well, I plan on waving at him when he gets up to where that ball landed. See if we can pull this off. The thing about it is, though, if Craig's going by the barbecue, there's a good chance he doesn't get up the stairs.
That's a good point. Harrison RBI double. And he gets clipped on a whirly fastball. So Josh Harrison is aboard. It's coming up on the 28th of June. The Fox Sports Florida Fantasy Auction. It's our 12th annual. All kinds of really cool items that you can bid on. Big ones, small ones. We've got the pledge packs coming up as well. Incredible stuff there. It is a great night of charity and fun and baseball. For more information, marlins.com/fantasy. Marlins.com/fantasy. Our pledge pack ambassador this year is JT Realmuto. Realmuto has signed 250 baseballs, authenticated, and they will be in the pledge packs. And those go on sale about a week before the event. They will be online sales and some phone sales as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Very nice of JT.
Yeah, JT. We've had some. Look, Don Mattingly was our guy last year. Giancarlo Stanton's done it. Christian Yelich. The late Jose Fernandez. This will be the 12th annual fantasy auction. And you're involved this year.
I'm really looking forward to being part of it.
See, look, there's JT. That's the bobblehead. That's a autographed Cliff Floyd All-Star bobblehead, kids. Wristbands. Just a sneak preview. Just for the kids.
Just a tease.
It's all for the kids.
Yes.
Gregory Polanco's up. Polanco's popped out. 5-1, Miami on top. Harrison can run. He's at first.
Cues it foul. That's where he's done a nice job. He's really settled in. He'll find the corners and make some pitches. Certainly a feeling early on that this might be a little bit back and forth. It's Worley staked to the 5-1 lead, wants to put up zeros as quickly as he can. This Pirates offense, which had been rolling coming into this series, quiet.
By the way, the longest home run hit here at PNC Park, and this is well before StatCast. And I don't even know if Hit Tracker Online was there.
It's a pretty good pitch right there. All right.
Sammy Sosa, 484. Early word from Pittsburgh PR is they think no one has hit it over like that before.
You asked me that. I told you nobody's hit a ball over that. We would have remembered seeing that. Park hasn't been open that long. 2001. And I've seen some of those long home runs too.
Tried to right, down the line, curling, and foul.
Yeah, you see a left, or excuse me, a right-handed hitter go up into that second deck out there. But over the batter's eye in center field, that has not happened. It has. I was under a rock when it happened.
Mike Piazza hit one very close to there, apparently. But it was off the green wall. Check swing and no swing from Polanco.
I forgot how many balls and strikes was going on here.
Hey, he was starting to jettison stuff like the bat. Then he was going for the elbow guard, and then he would have ended up going down for the shin guard. But I think Sam Holbrook got to him before he got that elbow guard off. 3-2 coming. And Worley locks him. Pittsburgh has always been a challenge for the Fish. But last year the Marlins came in here and swept the Pirates. It was a tight series. You can see the run differential was only 4. But long balls were a difference. Always a treat when the paddle boat comes through under the Clemente Bridge. Looks like if it took a right turn, it would float right into right field. As all of downtown starting to light up with the sunset here.
Buildings.
Opportunity here for the Pirates. You got the the meat of the order up with Freese and then Bell and 2 on. Miami's lead is 4.
Well, Freese has been in a pretty good hot stretch here of late, hitting .400 over his last 5 games, 4 RBIs. Really likes to stay inside the baseball in these situations. Runners in scoring position. Tries to use the big part of the field, go the other way. See if Vance can't counter that.
1-2. Freese in discussion. David Freese, of course, World Series hero for the St. Louis Cardinals back in 2011. He was the MVP of the National League Championship Series and the World Series. Two balls, 2 strikes. Harrison at second, Polanco at first. Center field, Yelich charging, not going to get it, falls in front. Runner coming home, and the Pirates have one of those runs back. A hit batter and a walk, and now a single.
Well, set up the trouble for Vance Worley right there. We talked about it. David Freese's approach with runners in scoring position. With 2 strikes right there. Gets jammed, but fights it off. Able to dump it into center field and pick up an RBI along the way. See this, not a terrible pitch. Just such a spacious outfield. Christian Yelich certainly has to respect his power as well. Playing much deeper than where that ball lands.
Here is Bell. Word has come from Major League Baseball on that play at second that D. Gordon caught stealing, that they used a mosaic, which is a combination of cameras from mid-first and mid-third, one of which is not available to either telecast, to determine that Gordon was out. They sync those cameras up. Time code, which is the real time of each shot, is synced so that you can get a look at both views at the same exact time, and that's what they use to determine the call. That's it's one of the things about replay. You get the cameras from all the telecasts, and there are a few cameras in park that the telecasts don't have, and that the umpires in New York do have.
There was something to it. I thought it was a bit of a risky proposition for Clint Hurdle and the Pirates to go after that already that early in the ball game, but they were pretty convinced and right.
A.J. Ellis out to talk to Vance Worley. Don Mattingly, Juan Nieves, hopeful that Vance Worley can get it together here in the third. His ball club staked him to a 5-1 lead. And you can see this ball strike ratio has hurt him here in this inning. T-Mobile, unlimited baseball break. 7-game losing streak for the Birds on a bat. They've been outscored by a bunch. They've dropped 3 games in the National League Central standings. But nobody else is tearing that division up either.
Right. That was kind of the conversation around here today. Was the Pirates could be playing better baseball. They've had a closer situation with Tony Watson. You see the standings right there, and it's really everybody talking about if we could be doing just a little bit better, we might be at the top of this division, because the Cubs are going through their own struggles. They've dropped 2 now to the Rockies. Brewers are hanging in there. Nobody's really taken over this division.
Liner into right, that's a base hit. Late start by Polanco. Stanton has it cleanly and hits the cutoff man, and now the bags are loaded. Let's see if Miami's bullpen stirs. With a 5-2 lead here in the bottom of the third, and it is. Marlins bullpen is starting to scramble.
Now the lead has been built. You certainly do not want to give it back. One's already been given away. Well, not given away, given back this inning. Got the bases loaded now, and this thing could potentially get back out of hand again. It's not what you want to see.
Nieves now out to the mound. And he and A.J. Ellis are chatting it up right now. Yeah, as you noted, the Rockies did beat the Cubs today 5-3. Colorado is 40 and 23.
Yeah, they're for real. They're playing good baseball. Playing well on the road.
And the manager of the year in the National League up until this point has got to be Bud Black, with a Torey Lovullo close second.
I was thinking that too, right there. Yep. Both those teams certainly surprising people. That's the interesting thing about the National League right now.
McCutchen aligned it. Riddle got a piece, flips it, turned, and got him! What a double play! J.T. Riddle to D. Gordon, and McCutchen, who smoked it, is out by less than a step. How about this?
Yeah. Wow.
What a play by J.T. Riddle.
Let me tell you something. Wow. That ball was hit so hard, ricochets off of him. Here's the play right here. When the ball pops up, he's able to secure it and get the ball to D. Gordon at the same time. Watch this right here. That doesn't happen. That double play doesn't get turned right there. Great job, great concentration. After taking a ball, had to be near 100 off the bat, off the chest, and getting that double play. Wow. Brilliant play. Beautiful to see.
Exactly 100 miles an hour off the bat.
That's what it felt like.
And so Miami goes back to work in a 5-2 game. A.J. Ellis, Vance Worley, and then D. Gordon. Tyler Glasnow in 3 innings has given up 5 runs on 8 hits. 2 home runs last inning. Stanton over the batter's eye in center, and Tyler Moore a liner to left. Ellis pops it foul, backing out of play. In-game box score is scattered with damage. Ellis slides at center field. That's a base hit. He'll round first, and we head all the way out to center field and Craig Minervini. Craig?
Yeah, it wasn't fun getting up here. I will tell you that. We're about 4 stories up. There's a little ladder, and it's amazing how far this is. The camera guys have worked the games forever here at PNC and at Three Rivers, but at this park they've never seen one. They said one in batting practice. That's it. None in games, as you guys talked about. There's a little railing behind me. It's about 5 feet behind this batter's eye, and I do see a dent right over here. This is about the area that Chad, the cameraman, said it hit. They heard a big loud sound, clanged off this, hit the concrete here, and that's why it came back to where you guys are. But wow, what a shot here. And you look back, I don't know how they only gave him 449 feet.
Yeah, I'm with you, Craig.
Yeah.
I think Hit Tracker Online, when it comes out tomorrow morning, is going to add about 30 feet to that.
I might be right now, seriously, 449, and that's exactly me.
Well, Craig, I mean, no railing, right? That ball leaves the ballpark. I mean,
yeah.
That's the only thing that was in the way of that ball just, well, maybe even ending up in the river.
It's certainly 20 feet, 30 feet. There's some trees and what have you here. To get to the river would be almost impossible from this spot because it's the middle. But it's at least 30 feet. I mean, it's up here. We're 40 feet high.
Right.
Yes,
at least.
Without question.
So anyway, they've never seen it here, and I've never seen this view either. It is kind of neat from center field. By the way, Manny's Barbecue is, in fact, I think we sent a picture back right behind us.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Thank you. We saw the smoke earlier. Worley with a great bunt, and Bell will pick it up, tag him out. Ellis is in scoring position for the top of the order. D. Gordon and Giancarlo Stanton. And Craig, be careful on your way down the ladder.
Yes. You know, it's funny. I'm looking at the railing here, guys, all right? There is one bent spot, like almost if you picture a prison bar, right here. And I don't know, but he suggested it was about 3 right in this area. It might be from the ball right here. That's it. Everything else is straight.
It's amazing. It's, I mean, I told you coming into this year, you're going to see stuff that you haven't seen before.
You promised. This is a great example. This is it. This is the start right here. Nice job, Craig.
Up and in.
That was good to see. I'm glad he went all the way out there. I was curious. I mean, even from our perspective up here, to see Craig all the way out there, I mean, that is just amazing how far he hit that baseball.
2001 is when they opened this ballpark. And they say it's never happened before until tonight. Gordon sneaks one down that third base line. Ellis racing for third. Stop sign is up. Gordon's not stopping. He's got a double. That's a brilliant move by Gordon, who knew that the left fielder, Adam Frazier, would be occupied. With A.J. Ellis at third, he never stopped.
Well, that's great base running right there. That's thinking, and as soon as it gets past Freeze at third base, this is what you want to think as a base runner. This is called applied pressures. The left fielder comes over to field this ball. His top concern is coming up and making a strong throw home. He has to respect it. And by hustling all the way, he knows even if he draws a throw into second base, watch, he's not going to stop. Yeah, beautiful. All the way around first base. Never even, no hint of stopping right there.
And here's that man again, Stanton, and he fouls it back to the screen.
And Frazier right there has to decide what he's going to do. And if he throws back and tries to get D at second base, ball in dirt, A.J. Ellis scores.
Miami trying to cash in 2 more here. This ball game is still early, top 4. Fastball in. Of course, you can vote right now. Marlins.com/vote for Giancarlo Stanton, any Marlin.
Get it
2017 All-Star Game, which is on Fox on July 11th.
Wait till that home run gets around the nation. Everybody gets a glimpse of that home run he hit. I think his all-star votes are going to spike.
I'm not with Statcast on 449 on that.
30-foot wall?
At least.
Right?
At least.
Well, I'm trying to be realistic here.
Stanton rolls it up the middle. That's going to chase home a run. Gordon stays at second, and Stanton drives home Ellis. Miami's lead is now 6-2. Here comes Yelich now. Bullpen action. Wade LeBlanc up for the second time for the Pirates. Tomorrow it's a 4 o'clock start here in Pittsburgh. That means at 3:30 South Florida Honda dealers will bring to you Jessica Blaylock, Preston Wilson, and Marlins Live. Gordon's running, huge jump. That throw is into left field, and Gordon is on his way home. And Miami has another run at 7-2. How about D. Gordon? Stolen base, number 21.
It's creating offense with the legs. Certainly did it all the way through from the ball, getting into left field, getting himself into scoring position. Good read on the ball, back up the middle on Giancarlo Stanton right there. You see Freeze, that throws inside the bag just a little too far. Tried to make a spectacular catch and tag right there, but by not making that catch, D. Gordon scores.
D. Gordon been active. Couple hits, stolen base.
This Marlins offense loves it when D's on base. That's pretty obvious, but when he is, couple hits, multi-hit games, they're 5 games over now. He's been doing a lot of that lately.
And of course, Vance Worley has a hit in this ball game and an RBI. A nice sacrifice bunt helped cultivate this inning. And he's got a 5-run lead to work with, though it is early. It's top 4. Yelich did. The home plate umpire had that call, Sam Holbrook. Glasnow gets the strikeout, but Miami gets 2 more. More thunder, more speed. 7-2. For the 7th through the 11th by visiting All-Star Fan Fest, an interactive baseball theme park. Tickets and more information at allstargame.com. Fan Fest. The All-Star Game on the 11th and on Fox. Jordy Mercer leads it off for the Pirates. Jacob Stallings, and then the pitcher's spot for Pittsburgh. Still bottom 4, 7-2 Miami. Vance Worley with the breaking ball that misses up. Pirates got a run in the first and a run in the third.
Well, for Vance, he'd really love to give this Marlins team a couple more innings.
And he's 3-1 on Mercer.
Well, you have a feeling that if he gets himself into any more trouble, it will force the hand of manager Don Mattingly. You cannot give the lead back, and you certainly don't want to, even though you know.
Gets a little help. Mercer went after ball 4.
The feel of this game, obviously the Marlins all over glass now. He's probably going to be out of the ball game soon, but regardless, huge double play an inning ago.
Yes.
But you don't want to give those runs back, and you certainly don't want to give this Pirates team any type of momentum.
That one up the middle, D backhands on his feet. Mercer's going to beat it. Nice play, but a base hit. Jacob Stallings now, Pirates catcher. Nationals at home against the Rangers. Interleague matchup and trailing 3-0. Texas on top in the 5th. Stallings sprays one to the right side. Gordon, that's close. Called out. We'll take a look. D getting the lead runner.
Bit of a gamble right here, trying to get the lead runner after sliding to his knee, but it looks like he does get it there just in the nick of time. JT Riddle, nice job, plays like a first baseman. Watch the stretch. He knows only out for him to get is that out at second base. He's not thinking about turning 2 there.
No challenge from the Pirates. And the end of the night for Tyler Glasnow. Jose Ozuna is going to pinch hit for him in the 9 spot. Stallings the runner at first. And Ozuna takes one up and in. Ozuna fouls it back. No relation to Marcel. You see the different spelling.
Close pitch right there by Worley. Jose Ozuna, they like his bat. Not really a place to get him playing time other than the outfield right now.
Jose Ozuna cranks that one in the gap, left center field. Yelich going to have to go to the wall to pick it up. Stallings, the big catcher, is held at third. Crowd doesn't like it. And of course they're rooting with their hearts, not necessarily their eyes or a advanced scouting report.
Well, here's the other thing. I mean, you don't even really need the advanced scouting report, but you can't have your guy blown up at home down 5 runs in the 4th inning. It's just as simple as that.
He's a big catcher, too.
Well, right, but you know, does he mean anything right now? Well, sure, you'd like to see him score, but it's the right call because again, you still have runners in scoring position. Frazier's had good at bats tonight against Worley, but if he's out at home, much like the double play an inning ago, you're kicking yourself. That's what you're doing.
Former bench coach for the Marlins, Joey Cora, is the third base coach here in Pittsburgh.
Is he notorious for stop signs?
Joey's
I'm just
smart guy.
That's right, he is. He's very good.
He knows you don't get your catcher thrown out down 7-2. Dustin McGowan on the mound. Pirates have swung the bat pretty well tonight. They have banged out 6 hits. Half of them are doubles.
Well, they've run into a bit of bad luck on the base paths and a couple of hard hit balls that were right at Marlins. I mean, that's not that the Marlins wouldn't be leading this ball game, but I think you'd agree there's probably, you know, that sense that the Pirates should maybe have a few more runs in this game as well.
Without question. That ball that Riddle knocked down and got the double play on to finish the third on McCutchen, no less.
He picked up 2 outs on that ball to go along with it. And Frazier had a deep drive to center field. Yelich made a nice play on that one, a double as well. Marlins pen going once again.
Frazier pulls it right side. Little flip. Worley's over. Gets the out. And Pittsburgh does cash in that run.
Well, Marlins defense back, conceding the run to home. Nice job by Worley right there.
There's Harrison now. J-Hay, as they call him, and in between innings, there was it's sort of like Little Penny. Little J-Hay was up on the scoreboard. You know what? That's going to be it for Vance Worley. Don Mattingly is coming out. Josh Harrison is up. And I think Mattingly feels like he wants to slow the Pirates down right now. Worley exits. In comes McGowan. Florida is brought to you by Jeep. Get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance Events by Supercuts. Save time. Check in online with our mobile app or at supercuts.com. And by your South Florida Chevy dealer. Tough game for starting pitchers. Both are already out of the game, and it's only the bottom of the fourth. Vance Worley goes 3 2/3. 6 hits, couple walks, couple strikeouts, a hit batter and a walk. Didn't help himself in the third, and here in the fourth, 2 hits and a runner at third with 2 outs, and Don Mattingly is going to the bullpen. Here is McGowan to face Josh Harrison.
Pitched an inning last night, a good inning. Nice little roll here of late. Last 4 appearances. No damage, no earned runs. Probably looking for multiple innings from McGowan tonight. Spot to get him in. By the way, Josh Harrison has had the best at bats in this series so far for the Pirates.
Fouls that one off of A.J. Ellis. Harrison last night was 2 for 4 with a double and a bunt single, and of course that was on a night where the Pirates had only 4 hits all night.
RBI double tonight. as well.
Two balls and a strike. Harrison is a guy that we've talked about before. He was originally a Cubs draft pick, traded to the Pirates back in 2009. An all-star all the way back in 2014. He was, when he first started to get regular playing time, a super utility guy. Played in right field. See him all over the place in the infield. Second base, third base. And while we've mentioned not only with the series in Miami, but also last night, the Pirates are without Starling Marte. They're also without Jung Ho Kang,
right,
their Korean infielder, who was cited with his third DUI over in Korea and has not been allowed to come back here to play because of that. Ball gets by Ellis and a run comes home. All of that on ball 4. And so it's 7-4 now. There's Polanco, who's popped out and walked. Obviously, Ellis wishes he had that one back.
So far in the series, Marlins have been able to keep Polanco pretty quiet. And a small task when you consider he came into the series hitting well over 350 in his career against the Marlins.
That run that came home on the wild pitch goes to Vance Worley's line. As you probably can hear in the background, 64 pitches. Polanco, sharp grounder. Gordon down to a knee to get it. On to first in time. Inning over. Pirates climb a little closer. 7-4 in Pittsburgh. statues here. I mean, they're not life-size. They're much larger than life. That's Roberto Clemente. The Willie Stargell one is just ginormous. Fox Supports is proud to team up with Positive Coaching Alliance and its mission to develop better athletes and better people by working to provide all youth and high school athletes a positive character-building sports experience. Visit foxsupports.com to learn more.
Into the ball game is Wade LeBlanc. You see the lefty, 3.34 ERA, 35 innings this year. He's getting a lot of work. Their long guy as well. Fastball, slider, curveball change. He'll bring it all. It's not going to blow you away. 88, 89 miles an hour. Occasionally he'll top out at 91, 92 if he really lets it go. He's a mixed guy and their long guy.
Former Marlin, stylish lefty. Ozuna pops it fouling out of play. Now, if the Marlins are in launch load against a guy like LeBlanc, he will start to baffle you and keep you off balance. We'll see how the approach is in these first few hitters. See Ozuna against lefties, a 385 clip, but only one home run. And LeBlanc misses in.
Yeah, it's a bit surprising because we've seen Marcel, I mean, just hit the ball so hard this year, but it's something he should worry about. Continue to maintain that good approach that we've seen from him all season long. Offensively, it seemed like we always talk more exit velocity with Marcel than really launch angle. Hits the ball hard twice tonight already. And there's the changeup from LeBlanc, the great equalizer. Sure, after seeing Tyler Glass now, this is sometimes those can be shocking at bats, and you kind of see it right there. Wade LeBlanc, 88 miles an hour. Marcell Ozuna will probably tell you he was sitting on a changeup after being way out in front. Fastball right down the middle of the plate.
Of course, like cold hard facts, last 10 days, Marlins in the National League. All the offense is starting to pile up, push them up near the top of the National League in those categories.
We talked about it a lot over the homestand. When you see those numbers right there, that watching the components of this offense, April, certainly through some of the struggles in May, Justin Bour got hot. There were some long home runs, and there were some great individual performances. JT Riddle comes back up. He's been playing great. This stretch, I think, is indicative of what this team can do when they all start to hit. Derek Dietrich starting to swing the bat great over the last 4 days. You look at what this lineup's becoming top to bottom. Tyler Moore, the impact that he's had. I mean, they're scoring from all different spots in this lineup. It's not just the guys in the middle who are hot. It's everybody right now.
Dietrich, Bell gets down to get it and gets to the bag. So LeBlanc strikes out Ozuna. It's Dietrich. And here comes Tyler Moore, who's produced 3 runs with his 2 plate appearances. A sac fly in the second and a 2-run homer in the third. Tyler Moore, hey, let's do the AARP thing and get to know him. Mississippi native, Mississippi State Bulldog, National Radar. Oh, 1 pitch. It's down low. That's the reference to the Washington Nationals. He was on their radar for 3 years. They drafted him twice.
Well, they got it right. It's a big leaguer. Very nice start to his career. Having a good run here with the Marlins.
Roller up the middle. Mercer in time, and Wade LeBlanc comes in and restores order. minutes ago.
Watch out for Giancarlo Stanton blasts tonight. It's kind of like the shooting range out there.
David Freese takes in. Is it fireworks night tonight?
There we
I
go.
think it is. So that big boat is the barge, the fireworks barge. So don't hit a ball in there.
May not end well.
Not for the barge.
Or the ball.
Bouncer up the middle. Riddle to his left. Vacuums it up. Sweeps it on over to first. And Freese is out number one for Dustin McGowan. Geico presents this date in Major League history. Pittsburgh's Honus Wagner. He doubled off of Erskine Mayer for number 3,000. He and Cap Anson were the first two in the 3,000 hit club. Some good old names in that Geico. Almost the exact same play, but not the same result. That one climbed up the arm of Riddle.
Now does everything right, stays down on it. This one kind of comes up and catches him on the heel, and where he's at on the field, as soon as that ball gets away, no shot at getting Bell at first base. Tough error right there.
So Bell's aboard. Here's McCutchen. Moving to the sixth spot for McCutchen kind of sparked his bat. And he takes a strike. He was 0 for 3 last night. And he scorched the ball in the third, and Riddle, and that was with the bases loaded. Riddle knocked it down, and it somehow started a 6-4-3 double play with a quick scoop to Gordon and a good turn from D.
I'll tell you what impressed me as much about that play is that taking that ball off the body and keeping his composure. Just stayed with it, able to catch the ball in the air, then flip it to D. Gordon all in one motion.
A.J. Ellis having some trouble back there tonight. That one bounces out of his glove. Or from our altitude, it's hard to tell if it bounced or not. It did bounce. I apologize for that. Still, I think if A.J. will be the first to tell you, if he could do that again, he'd probably try
would have slid. Yeah. You watch catchers slide out right there and keep that ball in front of him.
It's one of the frustrating things of being this high and trying to stare that far. Bell now at second. McGowan thought he had the plate with a sharp breaking ball. Here's a look.
Let's take a look at it. He did, by a wide margin.
And he ends up losing McCutchen.
A couple of walks tonight for Andrew McCutchen.
He's a 340 hitter in the sixth spot, so that has kind of jump-started his season for him.
Yep. Well, he still is, even through his struggles over the last year and a half, and I know his OBP, or excuse me, his OPS, or even his OBP, both of them are not anywhere near his norms or even his career highs or what his career numbers are. He is still a threat, and you see pitchers and still respect him when he steps into the box.
Jordy Mercer, infield hit his last time up. Brad Ziegler in Miami's pen, an indication that for Don Mattingly it's all hands on deck with the 7-4 lead. Bottom 5. McGowan into his second inning in relief. Vance Worley 3 2/3.
Oh, there he goes.
He was a conventional pitcher.
Well, that's what I was getting at right there. I thought the fans would like to see that. When he was getting warmed up, his first 2 pitches that he threw was actually over the top.
It wasn't until Oakland signed him as a free agent from the independent leagues, and he climbed up in their minor league system, that they suggested that he drop down and give it the submarine. The rest is history. Riddle, flip, double play again. How about that? JT Riddle to D. Gordon, and Josh Bell is caught off second base. How about that? What a gorgeous look down PNC Park. Night falling in Pittsburgh. Fireworks night after the game on a Friday night. The Marlins winners last night 7-1, leading here 7-4. Busy day for JT Riddle. He has started 2 key double plays to keep it 7-4. And he slices one down the left field line. That's a base hit. Into the corner goes Frazier. Riddle around first, on his way to second, and a double for Riddle, his second hit of the night.
JT continues to impress both with the glove and the bat. Fastball down in the zone right there. We told you a little bit earlier tonight how good he is at going down and getting fastballs down there, even below the knee. Stays inside it and goes the other way. Lefty on lefty. Boy, that is sweet swinging right there from JT Riddle. Start this inning off with a double. Pick up his second hit of the ballgame.
A.J. Ellis now. Tomas Talis, no, excuse me, Ichiro now has emerged on deck. Let's see if Ellis tries to shoot a ball to the right side or simply bunt, but he pops the bunt up, and Freeze has it. And so Riddle is still at second base. Here comes Ichiro. You can strike out poverty with D. Gordon. This season, every base D. Gordon steals will help to fight and end hunger and poverty in the Dominican Republic. He's pledged to personally donate $200 for every stolen base. He's asking fans to make a pledge of their own, and you're eligible for a VIP Marlins experience if you do donate. Pledgeit.org/D-Gordon. Pledgeit.org/D-Gordon.
Couple stolen bases tonight for D. Gordon.
Ichiro quickly behind in the count. 0-2. Career numbers against LeBlanc good. Ichiro this year has struggled to just find some footing and find some sort of a groove at the plate. Seven for 36 as a pinch hitter. And a 178 average overall. But he lines that one up the box and into center field. It trickles to center. Riddle around third. Freddie will send him. McCutchen up. Throw to the plate and he scores. And Ichiro drives home the 8th run of the night. Aggressive. Freddie Gonzalez knows the scouting report. McCutchen plays deep in center.
I'd be willing to bet Freddie kind of tried it. There's a little bait job going on right here. JT Riddle, I think Andrew McCutchen kind of understood that JT probably wasn't going to try to score, and then Freddie gives him the late go sign. Ichi does a great job reading it around first base. Watch that right there, because he had to go back and make sure that ball wasn't going to be caught. McCutchen comes in and fields it in front of him with both hands. I thought that was pretty interesting right there. How about that? Nice job by Freddie over there picking up that run.
Now Ichiro is at second. Gordon. And he floats one into left field. That's a base hit. Round third. Here comes Ichiro and he scores. Gordon to second. He is safe at second base. D. Gordon with a double. 9-4 Miami.
Have a night, D. Gordon. Continues to work on that left field line, has throughout this entire series. Ichi scores no problem at all once he realizes that ball gets through the infield. He's scoring easy. Only question is, can D. Gordon get into second base? And he does. Watch his footwork right here.
Pirates are going to challenge. And there they are again. Gordon and Harrison. Just like they were in the first inning when Gordon was called out by replay. He was originally called safe, but replay overturned that safe call. Stanton was standing at the plate for that as well, and D's got that look on his face like he's not sure. I think he's in there this time. Let's take a look.
Well, he did that. That was his reaction right after the slide, a pop-up slide into second base. I knew his buddy Josh Harrison was the one taking the throw right there, and they've been involved in a lot of plays.
Yeah, he thought he was safe the first time though, and he was wrong.
Yeah, jury's still out on that one.
We'll take a look.
The merging camera angles. I'm still going. It's okay. Look at D.
Here's a look, our first look. He's called safe. The umpires just called him safe. And it looks like the foot is there before the glove. Call has been confirmed. That means Gordon has his double, and now Stanton gets to face LeBlanc. Pirates lose their challenge. Miami's lead is now 9-4. 3 infielders on the third base side. Gordon over there as well, taking his lead from second. Stanton, a mammoth homer in the third. Drove in a run with a ground ball out in the fourth. Stanton, that's a base hit. Down the line it goes. Gordon around third, headed home. Giancarlo, who's having a great year against lefties, adds to it. Stanton coming in the top 10, 368 with a 947 slugging percentage against lefties.
Yeah, gets a breaking ball out over the plate and slams it down the left field line. Marlins are bringing out their best doubling bats right now. Merry-go-round out there.
3 doubles in the inning. Riddle, Gordon, Stanton. And it's 10-4. No doubt Harrison and Stanton are talking about, and Harrison keeps looking at the batter's eye. I'm sure they're talking about the home run. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Guys, you recall earlier in the year we were talking about the Marlins being among the basement of teams with doubles. And they're still in the lower third, but a big improvement. Look at this.
Right.
First 27 games coming into tonight. They were ranked 30th in the majors in doubles with just 1 per game. Since then, not including tonight, 4 more tonight. You got 2 per game, just about, and 8th in the major leagues in that time frame. So it's a big difference. Don Mattingly today said that double is a monster hit because obviously you can drive a run in with that double. You can get immediately into scoring position, and it's been a big factor for the Marlins offense last 32, 33 games, guys.
Yeah, it's a great point, Craig. You hear that an awful lot, certainly with the executives. I've heard it a few different times in my times at the winter meetings, even just understanding what that double does. It keeps innings going, keeps pressure on the opposing pitching. Sometimes that home run just kind of ends everything. You know, guy hits a homer, cleans the slate, guy gets back out on the mound. When you kind of got that rotation going, like the Marlins do this inning, see what happens.
Stanton the runner at second. Yelich takes away Pirates bullpen. Neverauskas, the Lithuanian right-hander, is up. Marlins saw him last night. LeBlanc has thrown 23 pitches. He was 1-2-3 in the 5th, far from it here in the 6th. 4 hits, 3 doubles. And that's outside. 14 hits for Miami. Yelich is the only regular without a hit. In fact, only player without a hit. Even Vance Worley had one. Yelich pushes it foul and out of play. Of course, last night Yelich was terrific. 3 hits, a couple doubles. Drove in a run. That's over into the Phelps section. The Phelps family section. 35 here for David Phelps. Marlins live this weekend. Of course, that's tomorrow, and on Sunday we'll have a sit down. Craig Minervini and David Phelps.
It's good representation right there.
Yelich, a little tapper. LeBlanc fires to first and gets the out. Here's David. St. Louis native, but his wife grew up here in Pittsburgh and they live here now. Ozuna against LeBlanc.
Marcell Ozuna, a couple hits in tonight's ball games, a couple runs scored.
Stanton's getting a little taste of what he does to people here, because with the Ozuna up, he's been taking a wide berth. See where Freddie Gonzalez is, and Stanton's pointing towards the middle, saying, keep it away from here. That's one of the scariest feelings in baseball, is being a runner at third with Stanton at the plate.
Oh, here's the thing. Good base runner is supposed to be creating momentum towards home, particularly with 2 strikes, because you anticipate the breaking ball in the dirt. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's how you're taught in the minor leagues, and it's what you teach your guys. And I know we talk exit velocity all the time around here, but it is. I mean, you're taking those steps, you're creeping down the line, thinking, okay, if he throws one in the dirt, I can score. I don't want to get too close to a Marcell Ozuna. Might meet that exit velocity.
He's in the coach's box.
All right.
And Ozuna didn't like that. Called strike 3, but Miami adds on 3 more runs. 10 on the night. 10-4, Miami. Yeah, the Stanton home run was bye-bye. Over the batter's eye off that back fence, and it kicked back into play. Todd Hollandsworth, Craig Minervini, Rich Waltz with you. The fireworks barge is out there on the Allegheny. What a gorgeous sight in downtown Pittsburgh. The river seems to come right up to right field. I know there's a pathway between that and the river. Kyle Bearclaw in for Miami. This was a Vance Worley start. Tom Mattingly pulled the plug on that 3 2/3 in. Dustin McGowan pitched the 4th and the 5th. Jacob Stallings, Pirates catcher, first to face Bearclaw.
First appearance in this series for Kyle.
Stallings drives it right center field, hits it well. Stanton after it, and he won't get it. Off the wall it goes. And the big catcher from the University of North Carolina pulls in with a double. Well, Dad'd certainly be proud of that.
Well, that's his first hit this season. See the fastball up at the belt. Good extension right there by Stallings. Stays through it, goes the other way. Kyle been outstanding on the road this year. Bearclaw 0.69 ERA. Some crazy splits, 794. Marlins Park, which is surprising to us all. Very, very good and very dominant on the road. Make an appearance in the Cubs series. Clean inning.
So Goslin, former Atlanta Brave, former Diamondback. Fastball fouled back. 10-4 Miami. And it's going to take, I mean, look, there's a lot of outs to get here. McGowan was able to come in and get 4 of them. Bearclaw probably for an inning.
Well, you'd like to keep it a collective effort. Certainly want to keep everybody available for tomorrow. Just give you an update of what's coming up. Yeah, this is a 4-game series here, obviously playing through the weekend, but then the Marlins have a a weird stretch. They're going to get a couple days off around that Oakland A's series. So you have a couple days there, but again, you just want to make sure that you keep yourself in a good position. The team's rolling right now. You've now 1-2. You're winning tonight. You want to keep it moving towards this weekend. Certainly get home and keep things going.
2-2 pitch to Gosling. To right, Stanton's under it. One out here in the 6th. Todd Hollinsworth all excited about this. Going to get the old shirts out of the bag. Get the Guns N' Roses thing going on. It's not in this Lifetime tour. It's Tuesday, August 8th, Marlins Park. Marlins.com/GNR. This was before your Seattle grunge period. This was head banging period.
Guns N' Roses just a little bit before. That's right. Pearl Jam and Soundgarden.
Adam Frazier's up. Frazier double back in the 1st.
RBI ground out his last at bat. And over 300 as the Pirates leadoff hitter this year. When in that spot. He did come into this series struggling just a bit.
Frazier shares the alma mater of Tyler Moore, Mississippi State.
Ball definitely outside the strike zone.
In the hole, Riddle around it, throws on the run, and just in time to get Frazier. Holding second is Stallings. And here comes J-Hay. Harrison hit by a pitch, walked. Bearclaw misses in. So little J-Hay up on the scoreboard.
I knew you were going to get back to that.
Yeah, he was interviewing one of his teammates. It's a little puppet. It's a lot like Little Penny. I don't know if it's we have to find out if it's Josh's voice. Does he do the voice for the character?
He does. I was listening. I was captivated by the whole thing. It was actually really good. He's the one that he does the interview. Now he interviews I think it's a bit of a skit that they do here. I don't think it was like a one-time thing. He had Josh Bell sitting in and he was interviewing him.
Right.
As what was he called? Little J?
Little J-Hay.
Little J-Hay, right. I'm not one for copycatting, but I think I think the Marlins could do something like that.
Well, the original was Penny Hardaway, the Little Penny, and that was Chris Rock who did his voice.
Right.
And that was
did a fantastic
really,
job
really
of doing that. Yes. Well, we were talking about it. Maybe D. Gordon, Giancarlo Stanton, maybe.
It's hard to imagine a little Jeezy, right?
Little D, little Jeezy.
I mean, even if you shrunk him down a little bit, he'd probably be bigger than most people. Bearclaw with a crisp fastball at 97. Just missed, and it's 2-2.
Maybe a little Justin Bohr. That'd be fun.
A little JB.
Yeah, there you go. job by A.J. Ellis right there. Good example. We talked about that a couple innings ago. See A.J. slide out right there and smother that ball. Tough slider in the dirt.
Full count, 3-2. A lot of runs up on the board for Miami. I know in baseball parlance, when you put a big number up or a number that's not a 1, they call it a crooked number. But in this day and age, do 2s count as a crooked numbers, or does it have to be like 3 or 4 runs and above? Because the Marlins have a pair of 3-run innings and a couple of 2-run innings. I think those qualify as crooked numbers.
Sure.
That's strike 3 called. And a slider from Bearclaw. When we get back, we'll get a look at little Jay Hay. It's 10-4. Marlins on top of the Pirates. 7th inning. And once again, just like he did last night, some changes as this game has progressed into the later innings. Phil Gosselin's going to stay in. Josh Harrison's out. And Ovidius Neverauskas is back. He was here last night. Neverauskas pitched an inning, finished the game of the 9th, gave up a couple singles to Stanton and Yelich, and that was it. He gets Derek Dietrich, Tyler Moore, and J.T. Riddle in Miami's half of the 7th. There is a Neverauskas, Lithuanian born.
There it is, big arm. Talked about him last night. 95, 99 fastball. 70% of the time, throw a little cutter, a little curveball to go along with it. Leans on that fastball an awful lot, though. Marlins have done a really nice job tonight. Back to Tyler Glass now. Talked about his big arm and the velocity. Really good at bats against him. Wade LeBlanc snuck into the ballgame. Certainly score a little out of hand at the time, but certainly a different dynamic. Marlins put together some real nice at bats against him. They're able to slow down their front sides and kind of get back into it. As LeBlanc gets a few changeups out over the plate.
Hope yet. Oh, sorry.
No, Marlins just started putting on the merry-go-round over there at second base.
Dietrich hits it hard, and a flip to first, and Neverauskas is out. June 15th is coming up. Greatest players in the world will be at Erin Hills for one of golf's most anticipated events. Dustin Johnson trying to defend his title. It's the 117th U.S. Open, and it starts on the 15th on Fox FS1 and it streams live on Fox Sports Go. Dietrich hit it hard, right at Josh Bell. Here's Moore. He has a 2-run homer, a sac fly, and a ground out. If you are just dropping into this ball game, Miami for the second night in a row has battered the Pirates pitching. 7 runs, 14 hits last night, 10 runs, 14 more hits tonight. Stanton has done something no one's done in this ballpark, and Moore sits it to left. That's deep. He's hit another. Nice. Tyler Moore pulled this one. His second of the night, his 4th of the season. And Miami now has an 11-4 lead.
How about it? We were talking about an opportunity for Tyler Moore stepping into Justin Bour's spot, but she was going to be missed. Great swing right there. This ball creeps back out. Cutter creeps back out over the plate. Great swing right there. And it's funny sometimes how this all.
Watch where the ball goes. Right down the escalator.
Gonna come back. And we talk about it. You know, this little stretch that Tyler Moore's been on, certainly on this road trip, started with really some real nice bats going the other way in Chicago.
That's the second 2-homer game for Tyler Moore in Toronto on the 13th of June in 2012. So Tyler Moore with 2 here. Riddle fouls it back. I was just saying, if you just walked into the ball game, Giancarlo Stanton hit a ball where no one's hit, according to everybody in the press box, and that is over the batter's eye in center field. Statcast, though, gave him a paltry 449 feet.
That's not.
It hit the fence on the back of the batter's eye and then bounced back into the field of play. That railing, which is up behind our camera folk there.
I'd be willing to bet. Haven't been too many balls to the escalator.
No, you got to work it in there.
Oh, that's right. You got to weave it in there. You got to catch some concrete, jump it up a little bit over the walkway around there. See that right there? It went over that walkway onto the escalator.
That one's hit hard by Riddle, and it's caught there by Frazier. JT's had really good swings. JT Riddle tonight. A double, a single, that line drive out. Here's A.J. Ellis, who is 1 for 2. The series continues tomorrow, and remember, tomorrow it's not a night game, it's a late afternoon affair. In baseball terms, 4:05, I believe, is a day game.
Late afternoon?
Yeah, 5 o'clock on is a night game. 4 o'clock on, they call it a day game. Dan Straley, Trevor Williams going tomorrow night. Straley for the Fish, Williams for the Pirates, and it's Jeff Locke and Ivan Nova on Sunday at 1:35. So 3 homers here tonight. Ellis takes fastball for a strike. And Ellis gets hit. And he's on his way down to first.
Well, I was watching Stallings slide back in under AJ's hands right there, almost anticipating it. See it right here. Watch this. There's just really no way of getting out. A two-seamers just starts to hunt you 96 miles an hour.
Imagine you're Kyle Bearclaw and you've had, I think, all of one at bat in the big leagues, and the guy in front of you just gets drilled with a high velocity fastball. Bearclaw takes a strike. It's 0-1.
I want to see the swing.
I do too. He looks like
I always enjoy it. There's always a couple athletes in there that can swing the bat that don't get very few opportunities to swing the bat out of the bullpen. I would have pegged Kyle to be one of those athletes.
maybe he's just baiting him.
Maybe. See. They usually don't ambush 97.
No, you know how they say defensive indifference?
Right.
That was offensive indifference.
Agreed.
11-4 pitch.
This year, I think we should do this.
Man, what is that, man?
I'm trying to do the Harlem Shake, but these strings don't work that well.
I don't know. Okay, look, so I think that's something that me and you could do. But as far as the whole team, that's going to be hard. There'd be a lot of people be doing that Harlem Fake. The Harlem
That is so good. So good. Whoever's idea that was, masterfully done.
Yes.
That is quality.
I love McCutcheon's reaction.
Sul's, great job getting that. That is fantastic.
John Sulzer, our critically acclaimed producer.
Well done.
Christian Roberts, our highly lauded director. All hands on deck here in Pittsburgh. Gregory Polanco swings and fouls it back. Polanco, David Freese, Josh Bell.
I don't see that very often from Kyle. I think he just mixed in a changeup right there.
Well, now's the time to, if you've got to bring out a pitch you haven't thrown and try to throw it in a game. An 11-4 lead's a good time to do it.
I remember seeing one just about all year. Good equalizer right there. Straight change. Decided to throw it again.
Yeah, his we haven't seen enough to really know what the velocity would be. That one was 90.
Well, I know I've seen him throw it before. I just have never seen him actually do it in a game. Usually it's 89, 90 miles an hour. His slider's the one that he really takes the velocity off.
Polanco to right. Stanton going back. at the track. He's there and he makes a catch. And that is out number 1 here in the 7th inning, bottom half. Tomorrow, 3:30 for Marlins Live, 4 o'clock ball game. Dan Straley, Trevor Williams. Straley a 3.59 ERA. Pirates certainly have seen him. He was in Cincinnati's rotation in this National League Central last year. Then Jeff Locke will be going. There's Locke next to Straley. Locke goes on Sunday. 3 ex-Pirates and the 4 starters for Miami in the series. Freese takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, that's a great display right there. Even just those 2 pitches, that little sequence right there to Freese when Kyle's at his best. A lot of times he'll drop in that breaking ball. First pitch, get me over. No hitters getting in the box thinking about that. He's able to rev it up to 96.
Stan has to charge in after this one, and it falls in front for a hit. Freese parachutes one into right, and that'll bring up Josh Bell. Baseball today. We told you that the Rockies are in Chicago to take on the Cubs, and the Rockies beat the Cubs 5-3. Colorado's now 40 and 23 on the season. Nationals are home against the Rangers. Not going well for the Nats. 5-1 Texas top 8. Mets and Braves in Atlanta 1-0 Mets top 6. And the Phillies are 2-2 with the Cards in the bottom of the 4th. Bell to right. Stan reaches. And he has it. Giancarlo extending and makes a catch.
Yeah, perfectly done. Here's why. He doesn't extend that arm until the very last second. He's able to get as much ground as he can going back. You stick that arm up too early, you start to forfeit ground. You start to become vertical. You don't cover as much space. Goal for an outfielder is to get as much ground as you can, much more like a running back or somebody who's running, pumping those arms and sticking that arm up at the last second. Well done.
McCutchen cranks one into left field, and that's a base hit. From the very first time that I saw Giancarlo Stanton, he's a big guy, right? You could see the value of his time as a wide receiver and corner in high school. The angles that he takes are precise. He doesn't have the explosive speed, but he is able to accelerate. He can make athletic plays like that.
He covers ground. Good route runner. Sees the ball well off the bat most times.
Jordy Mercer.
I've been impressed. I mean, as big as he is, I kind of actually expected a little bit less from him watching him early on this season. He's a very capable outfielder, covers a lot of ground, certainly allows Christian Yelich to play a little bit more straight up, and they don't shift all that much in the outfield because all 3 guys cover so much ground.
And you have to in this ballpark, and obviously in Miami's home park.
Bear clock creeping up on 30 pitches. Certainly like to get back into this at bat here with Mercer. Does not want to load the bases here in the bottom of the 7th.
This is inning number 2 for Kyle. Jordy Mercer, Pirate shortstop. Check swing, and he went. That gets him back in the at-bat. It's a 3-2.
Runners will be off with the pitch.
Slider and a soft one to Moore at first. Kyle Bearclaw, 2 scoreless innings. 11-4. Headed to the studio after this. (11-4) here. Miami back to work in the 8th. Dovidas Neverauskas still on the mound for Pittsburgh. And it's Gordon. Then it's Stanton. And then it's Yelich. 5th at bat for D. Gordon. Swings and misses at a breaking ball.
Real nice game for D. Gordon tonight. A couple of stolen bases. Remember back to that 2nd inning, even the out was loud. Lined out to right field.
Rolls it over the middle. Mercer has to get rid of it quickly, and he does. Time now for the Toyota Inside Look, brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Singles leaders, Marlins since 2014. You heard Craig earlier talk about Don Mattingly's description of doubles and how valuable they are.
Yeah.
Marlins in this series have done a pretty nice job of that. Riddle has a double. Gordon, Stanton. Gordon has 2 doubles, so 4 in this ball game. A lot of them last night as well. Neverauskas. This is to Stanton. Big G, 16 homers. He's driven in runs in 3 different at bats. 42 driven in. He takes outside, and he continues to be, as we've described it, better hitter than slugger, or more hitter than slugger.
Just don't pay attention to that home run he hit to center field tonight.
Right.
The fact that it was to center field really does tell you about his approach.
Yes, it does, and he walks here with 1 out, and that brings up Yelich.
We talked about this a little bit last night. Marlins have been very good about this all season long, not giving away at bats late in a ball game, up by a lot of runs. Going out there and just grinding out at bats and putting together the quality. I mean, as a player, you always believe everything's connected.
Yelich gets himself a hit.
Hear the dugout respond to that right there.
Yes, they were on him because he was the only guy without a hit. Even Vance Worley had a hit. But of course, Yelich had 3 last night, including a couple doubles.
Some good love right there. Some good ribbon. He doesn't think it's funny, though. Not sure I would either.
Ozuna's got 2 hits and 2 called looking. In-game box score. That's not right. Come on. Look, I'm just the Yelich.
Oh, Yelich?
Hanging the single up.
You know what? Here's the thing. It's the way you got to think. It could be 0 minus that last base hit.
Oh, Ozuna scorches one into center field. Stanton will hold, and the bags are loaded.
I had a sense about Ozuna right there. I think he was not too happy with those 2 strikeouts. He's going to jump on that first good fastball he gets. Wearing out a path up the middle. Ooh.
It's like Ray Searage coming out to pay a visit. Pirates bullpen is stirring. Here in the 8th, it's 11-4 Miami. A walk and 2 singles brings up Derek Dietrich. I hope you had a chance last night on Marlins Live to hear that interview with Craig Minervini and Derek Dietrich. Dietrich, and there's his family. Monica Puig is here as well. There's so many generations of Dietrichs here to watch him. And Craig, you had a chance to visit with him last night. His grandfather, Steve Demeter, the great minor league slugger and coach, was a coach here with the Pirates organization.
See his grandma's up there eating ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see the gentleman in the short sleeve shirt. There's Steve Demeter, who played a brief time with the Pirates with the young Derek Dietrich. What a great shot. And Derek told me that he learned everything about this baseball game from Steve Demeter. But the man on the left there, I was talking to him before the game. He happened to be sitting right over here. We just started talking. I didn't know that he knew the family, and then he told me he was Steve Demeter's best friend and grew up with him. He said he's been to 48 All-Star games. Steve, of course, was a scout with the Pirates and in the organization forever. And Derek had some nice access as a young kid. Derek did tell me that he never did get a chance to see, as you see his card there when he was at the minor leagues, and then the manager in the organization. Steve died in 2013, right when Dietrich was traded to the Marlins, so he did not see him in the big leagues, but he said he had a nice guy up above watching him last night.
And of course, it was the biggest piece of hitting advice his grandfather ever gave him was let it fly. And when he passed, Derek had that tattooed on his wrist, just to remind him, let it fly. And he's had a real nice series here. 1 for 4 tonight, 3 for 4 last night. That pitch is in. I remember it was last year in spring training. The Marlins were playing the Boston Red Sox, and Joe Castiglione, the radio voice of the Red Sox, was asking me about some of the Marlin players. And he asked me about Dietrich, and I said, well, you know, his grandfather was a great minor league slugger, hit a lot of home runs, managed in the minor leagues, coached, and was affiliated with the Pirates. And I said, Steve Demeter, and Castiglione said, I saw that guy play. He was a great slugger.
Wow.
And he asked me to bring Derek over. And for Dietrich, it was a treat to talk to somebody who had actually seen his grandfather as a player, not just as a manager or a coach. And Joe Castig said that guy could hit.
That's a really cool story. It had to be a very meaningful moment for Derek.
Two-2. Dietrich gets handcuffed, rolls it towards third. Freese gets to the bag and gets the out. And Dietrich's going to get an RBI on a fielder's choice. So another run for Miami and a 12-4 lead. And here's a guy that's had quite a series so far. That's Tyler Moore. 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs last night. 2 for 3 with 2 homers and 4 RBIs tonight. And he lines one into left field. That's a base hit. Ozuna with a stop sign up. And it loads him up. So 3 hits for Tyler Moore.
A real nice approach right there. I was just getting ready to compliment him on. So it's kind of finding that stroke in the Cubs series. Just quiet. I would almost tell you that he's keeping his hands a little bit closer to his body, which is allowing him to shorten up on the inside part of the plate. Of course, we've seen 2 long home runs to left tonight. Another base hit right there as well.
Right now, Clint Hurdle doesn't have a whole lot of options. Remember, 2 extra inning games in that grueling series against Baltimore before last night. And the Marlins knocked Garrett Cole out of the ball game in the 5th inning. Tyler Glasnow exited after 4 innings here tonight. JT Riddle, single, double. And he's going to get a 2-0 pitch with the bags loaded here. On a comebacker. Neverauskas to first. Miami puts another run up here. And it's 12-4. Tomorrow afternoon, and the Marlins right-handers had a really nice run. He'll take aim at the Pirates. Trevor Williams goes for the Buccos. Marlins Live gets ready at 3:30. The bats have been cracking. A lot of crack-a-lacking in this series so far. 7 runs, 14 hits last night. 12 runs, 18 hits tonight. Now that rainbow top on the building last night was used as a signal every time the Penguins scored a goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs just across the river. They lit the lamp. It went red for every goal. And while the game was going on, the Penguins scored 6 times. But up there now, the little colors are a coded weather report, so to speak. It'll take all night to even try to decipher what's up there. And the fastball misses outside. Harlan Garcia for the Fish. Jacob Stallings, Phil Goslin, Adam Frazier. The pitcher's in the 2 spot behind Frazier. Garcia gets a strike. So for the Marlins, this has really worked out. Obviously, you get a slew of runs, and that's great. But remember, Vance Worley wobbled early in this start, and when the Marlins had a 7-3 lead, Don Mattingly came and got him, and that was in the 4th inning. Mattingly, sensing that the Pirates were having good swings and good at bats, Worley had hit a batter, walked a batter. Mattingly came and got him. McGowan, Bearclaw, and now Garcia have been on the mound since.
Things have certainly stayed in control, and you also have to consider that Dan Straley's going tomorrow night in making those decisions. Certainly one of your most trusted starters. He's been on a nice run as well.
Well, into the bat job, and it nestles in there for a hit. And Jacob Stallings, who didn't have a hit this year, has a couple. MLB.com at bat, #1 mobile app for live baseball. Game day, video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast news, Craig Minervini bio, publicity shots from the early years from Todd Hollandsworth. All of that is available. Just download it at MLB.com at bat. Even a long form essay from our graphics coordinator Ken Lee.
Ken Lee's been on his game tonight.
Goslin goes out reaching and misses there.
A nice two-seam fastball right there. A little tailing action out the outside corner. Garcia wanting to make pitches. Always the easiest of conditions to pitch in games like this. There's always the idea, sometimes talked about, just throw fastballs, just get ahead. We're winning this ball game tonight. For Garcia, he needs to make pitches. These are big league hitters who are certainly looking to do damage. You still have to stay into that rhythm, still execute your changeup and your slider to go along with it. It's not merely just coming into the ball game to get work.
Back behind second, and Gordon's there to catch it. Don Mattingly has made a lot of changes out there. Christian Colon is out at third base. Derek Dietrich goes from third to left. Tomas Delis is at first. Tyler Moore goes to right. Ozuna goes from left to center. So Yelich and Stanton get the rest of the night off.
Say that again? I'm just kidding. It's about as many moves as the Marlins can make with the bench the way that it is.
Well, you think about it. The Marlins are playing well right now. If they win this ball game, if this score holds, it'll be 10 of the last 13. In the gap, Ozuna trying to go get it, and it scoots on by him to the track. He'll pick it up there. Stallings to third. They're going to wave him home, and he will score. That's going to be an RBI double for Adam Frazier.
Frazier, a couple of hard hit balls the other way, including starting this game off with a double the other way. Picks up another double in this gap. See it right there, just taking that elevated fastball and shooting it the other way. Marcell Ozuna playing him that way. A little bit of a direct route to that ball. Cost him a couple steps, not being able to cut it off. It's going to allow Stallings to come all the way around and even score. Joey Cora, remember, earlier in the ball game, held him at third, not now. Game circumstances have changed, certainly anticipating no throw home, and Stallings able to score easily.
So it's 12-5. Elias Diaz will get the pinch hit spot. This is the pitcher's position.
Diaz started the game last night at catcher.
You think about where the Marlins are now, and obviously they had that awful stretch when they dropped 20 of 25. But they've, it feels like, righted the ship. It's probable that they will have won 10 of 13. And yet they're doing it with a lot of key guys. Justin Bour's been out on the disabled list now for the last 5-6 days. Martin Prado has been down. Obviously, both Miguel Rojas and Danny Echeverria have been out. Marlins have been without Wei-Yin Chen, without Adam Conley, without Tom Kohler. So certainly the hope is that the way they're playing continues and they start to get people back.
Right. Well, continue to rave about the offense, setting things up. Think about the last 3 ball games that the Marlins have played, and even tonight's issue with Worley not being able to go as long as he would have liked, or Don Mattingly would have wanted him to go, because the offense is roaring right now, top to bottom, getting production from the bottom spots in the lineup. Tyler Moore, 2 home runs tonight. JT Riddle swinging the bat so well right now. When you're playing with leads, you're calling the shots, and again, that's what Don Mattingly did when Josh Harrison was coming up in the 4th, and he decided that that's enough for Vance Worley tonight. When you're in control, even if it's a high-scoring ball game, tonight 17 runs have scored. The Marlins have scored 12 of them. Think back to the last couple of scores. Lots of offense last night. Last game in Chicago, they scored 6. You get to call the shots. You get to navigate your way through the bullpen the way that you want, and that's kind of what they envisioned. So it's good to see this offense really rolling, because I do believe it's setting up the pitching so well. The numbers in the bullpen have improved, and obviously the starters are doing their thing as well. Edinson Volquez has been on a great run. Dan Straley's been pitching lights out almost all season long.
Garcia gets a strikeout of Diaz. Straley gets it tomorrow, 4 o'clock start. Polanco's 0 for 3. I showed you earlier the struggles of the St. Louis Cardinals, who have been such a mainstay in this division for, well, feels like forever. Cardinals now have a 1-run lead over the Phillies, 3-2. That's top 6. The Cardinals are 6 games under 500 at 26 and 32.
Yet that's still the most forgiving division in the National League. Well, like coming into tonight's game, there were 6 teams in the National League right now that are double digits behind their division leader. 4 in the National League East, 2 more teams out in the National League West. Padres and Giants, all 4 teams, as I just said, in the East. I mean, that's amazing to me. I mean, we're at the beginning of June.
Yeah, Milwaukee is the top of the heap in the Central by just a game over the Cubs. Cubs lost today, so at this very minute they're actually a game and a half back. Milwaukee's in Arizona. That's 3-3, and it's bottom 1. So I don't know if the humidor has kicked in yet. I don't think so.
I asked you that question last night.
I don't think it's online yet.
We heard about that at the end of May when the Diamondbacks were coming through.
And I think when you turn it on, it takes like a week
or two to get going.
To get all the humidity out of the, or bring all the humidity in the room.
You can bring it in the room, right?
Yes. The dehumidifier would be the one that took it out.
Well, it's so interesting. I mean, you look, it's undeniable. I remember I was in Colorado when the humidor was introduced, and the difference between the baseballs and, you know, obviously all the talk between the home numbers and the road numbers. Well, the Diamondbacks in a lot of ways have been doing that this year. Such incredible splits. Although the one thing that's really stood out, much like the Rockies are doing this year, by the way, the Arizona Diamondbacks have been pitching really well at home despite the ball flying out at a pretty regular rate.
That one scooted by A.J. Ellis. Harlan Garcia 3-2 here on Polanco. Marlins still haven't been to Atlanta, but that's going to end
next weekend.
Next weekend. Polanco swings and misses. Ellis digs that one out, tags him out. Garcia gives up a run. Miami still up 7. Fish 12 runs as well, and this game arrives in the 9th inning. Lots happened here tonight. A lot of doubles, a lot of home runs. Tyler Morris popped 2. Stanton hit a mammoth one over the batter's eye in center. Tony Watson, the deposed closer of the Pirates, in for some work to try to tighten things up. 5 blown saves, 3 consecutive, and 2 to finish the series in Baltimore. His last 10 games, he's given up 10 runs.
5 home runs over his last 14 innings pitched. He's got a 7.71 ERA. It's highest in the bullpen. For your closer, that's not good. For a lot of people here in Pittsburgh, moving Watson out of the closer's role seemed a little bit more obvious.
Pirates were always one of those teams that were able to find a closer, or whether it's a Grilly, Melanson, and Watson was kind of the next in line, and it just hasn't worked out.
Oh, he's been an incredible run as their 8th inning guy over the last few years. I see this Pirates team an awful lot from the National League Central days, and one of the most dominant guys in the 8th inning. Now, to your point, Melanson leaves. They transitioned Watson into the closer's role, and they thought it would just kind of pick up and keep on moving. He was pretty good last year towards the end, but this year things have definitely been a little bit different.
Ellis in the air to center. McCutcheon still out there, and he makes the catch. Here is Telis. This 9 spot has been busy in Miami's order. Vance Worley, RBI single, sacrifice bunt. Ichiro had a pinch hit RBI single. Telis here in the 9th. Mets and Braves 2-2, bottom 7 in the ATL. Curtis Granderson, Travis d'Arnaud is back. They've both homered for the Mets. It's a Matt Harvey start. He went just 5 innings, walked 2, struck out 3, didn't give up a run. He threw 104 pitches in 5 innings.
Made him work.
That's amazing. Look at that line. 5 innings, 4 hits,
well,
2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Not a lot of walks, but still
a lot of foul balls.
104.
Yeah, that's a steep number. 104 for 5. A lot of souvenirs.
Look out. Shrapnel everywhere from Telis's bat. High throw, and he's out. That now, what's the protocol here if you're Don Mattingly? Do you? I'm sure Ed Lucas is looking at it, but Bell went up, and they came down. And Don has that look like, you know what? I'm not even going to think about challenging.
Well, I think it's fair to say this: if that was a ball down the line and Freese gone to his backhand, or there was a chance that there's a hit on the play,
yes.
I think you would have seen Don Mattingly pop out of the dugout and say, yeah, we want to look at that. And that's because he would have been standing up for his guy. He would have been trying to get a hit for his player.
And it used to be long ago in baseball, well, not that long ago, just before replay, that the way a manager stood up for a player was by coming out and arguing with umpires. Even if the manager knew that the player was wrong, he had to come out come out and defend him. Now it's, are you going to challenge for him? That is out. Now the Marlins may look at that one. That was bang bang. Gordon out at first, and that ends the fish here in the ninth. 12-5 Marlins. Florida, brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fare, nothing to hide. By Jeep, get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance events. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. PNC Park all lit up in more ways than one. The Marlins, with the bats, have done just that. Brian Ellington in to try to finish things here in the 9th.
That 6.17 ERA, certainly a bit misleading. Much better than that. Outing in Chicago, did a number on his earned run average. Gave up a run last night as well.
Freese takes out. By the way, that play at first with D. Gordon, we did look at it on the replay, and it was bang bang, but he was out. It was a really nice call by Greg Gibson because it was close. Two and 0, and a visit here from Ellis. AJ and Ellington going over. Here's a look and see how close this play is. Watch for the ball, interior of the glove there.
Well said.
Just before the foot goes down.
You've been good about that this year.
And so that's why there's no challenge, because
right,
as you pointed out, if it's for a hit, a manager, regardless of the score, is going to
a little bit closer than what we saw right there, and I think you would have seen Don Mattingly come out and ask for the head sign.
Well, you got the eagle eye of Ed Lucas looking on as well, so that's
best in the business.
That's comforting. 3-0 pitch. He's in.
Not the way Ellington wants to start this 9th inning. Certainly wants to get some momentum going. Found out last night that got to throw strikes in these spots here, force them to hit a little bit. Leadoff walk score about 42% of the time.
Josh Bell's 1 for 4. Switch hitting first baseman. The barge is still parked out there, so the fireworks haven't gone anyplace.
Well, I just got to make sure your suit doesn't catch on fire on the walk back.
You haven't seen this yet. This is one of the coolest spots for fireworks ever, because I mean the view that we've got up here, the vantage point is just spectacular. And throughout the ballpark you can see out onto the Allegheny, the entire landscape, skyline of Pittsburgh. Well, the barge out there on the river shoots those fireworks right up over the river.
I just don't want to be downwind.
Nah, we're good. We'll just go down like 2 bridges down.
All right.
Three and 1 the counts. That Nationals Rangers game is over. 5-2 Texas beats the Nationals, and that was in DC. There's some time-lapse look at a fireworks show earlier this year. It's pretty cool.
It is really cool. The sky.
Beautiful pictures. Ellington has walked a couple. Miami's bullpen, which I'm sure Don Mattingly didn't want to bother from this point on, is starting to move around. Here's McCutchen. Ellington, and you talked about the 6 runs at Chicago that really played havoc with his ERA. He bounced back, didn't give up an earned run. Or excuse me, last night against the, I'm going in the wrong direction. I need to go to Pittsburgh and not Philly. Philly was before that Chicago appearance. And just a run here. And Juan Nieves trying to settle him down, sort it out.
A little bit of a pep talk here. This isn't about mechanics or anything like that. I think this is just more of let's get it in gear here and get this going. You're throwing way too hard. You've got too good of stuff to be doing this right now. At the same time, I do wonder this because I did mention it at the time. I mean, he went an extended period of time between his last outing and that Cubs one, about 5 days. Over those 5 days, he looks different. He needs to kind of get back in gear here. Done a really, really good run there for a while.
McCutchen takes a strike. Andrew McCutchen has walked twice, singled. There's a strike. Strike zone got a little wide there. 0-1 or 0-2. Ellis sets up out. Good location on the breaking ball. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And by the way, the fireworks are from the Zambelli Fireworks Company, located up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Is that the home of Steve Alford? Oh, and that's Newcastle, Indiana, right?
You got me,
That's
buddy.
right. I got my Newcastle.
You got me, partner. I don't know.
It's not White Castle, but Newcastle.
Well, White Castle is a
liner to right. That's a base hit. Picked up there by Moore. And the Pirates now have him loaded. So the decision for the Marlins is, do you leave Ellington out there to try to sort it out? It's a 7-run lead here. Or do you go get Dyson? Jordy Mercer's coming up. Anyways, the Zambelli Fireworks, folks. World famous. Tom Mattingly's on his way out. And he is going to go get Sam Dyson. Ellington exits. Nick Wickren coming in. So Ellington. On top 12-5. I had jotted down on my scorebook that Sam Dyson, former Marlin, ex-Texas Ranger, been picked up by the Giants. And I think I dropped Dyson when I was headed towards Nick Wickren.
But the Marlins had pulled a fast
That
one
would be
on the Giants.
That really would be breaking news. So it's Mercer here. He pulls the ball foul. You've got Stallings behind him, then Gosling.
For Wickren, pitched in the last game in Chicago. He's given the responsibility of the 8th inning. Got a couple outs there. Did give up a run. He's been on quite a roll, throwing the ball very, very well. Certainly getting more and more leverage. He's had a good run here in Pittsburgh. He's already pitched in 3 games in his career. Hasn't given up anything. See the work there over the last few days.
Liner to center field. That's a hit. Ozuna picks it up. Pirates are going to get a couple of runs home. Bell scampers home. And Jordy Mercer delivers 2. And this is obviously the last thing the Marlins wanted to have happen was not only have to get Wickren up, but also heat up A.J. Ramos.
Well, the other thing is that the Pirates are starting to kind of get back in this series as well. Offense is starting to roll. Think how the series has gone over the first couple of ball games. Marlins have just been so explosive offensively. It's really taken the wind out of the sail. Clint Hurdle's brought in some of the backups and utility guys and start to get those bats going again.
Stallings has a couple of hits, doubled in the 6th. He was the first man to face Kyle Barraclough. Vance Worley for 3 2/3. Dustin McGowan for an inning and a third. Barraclough for 2. Harlan Garcia for 1. Ellington for 3 hitters. Wickren has faced a hitter here. Miami has yet to record an out in this 9th inning. The tying run is still on the bench, but not that far on the bench.
Good job by Wickren right there, staying in on Stallings. Stallings a big guy. He's a plate pretty well. Certainly with that open stance, looks like a candidate to stay on the inside part of the plate. Certainly with that good fastball that Wickren's been using.
Now it's 2-2. Wickren steps off. Well, now it's 3-2.
The Pirates are still in the position where they're trailing in a way that they cannot put guys in motion, so don't expect that right here, which keeps the double play in order. Nick can make that pitch and get that ground ball. Should be able to get 2, although they look like they want to run.
In the air, shallow center. That's Ozuna, who's there and makes the catch.
So 1 down here in the 9th.
We got Phil Gosling coming up. Well, even if the Pirates don't come all the way back, they've succeeded in doing a couple of things. They've reignited their offense a bit, and they forced Miami to get not only Wickren in the game, but get Ramos heated up. It is a Dan Straley start tomorrow, 4 o'clock, 3:30 for Marlins Live. Ball and a strike. Giants and Twins tonight, interleague in San Francisco.
Nice slider by Wickren right there.
He's 1-2 now. McCutchen at second. Mercer still at first. One lined into the seats. That Milwaukee-Arizona game still 3-3. Bottom 3. Mets in Atlanta 2-2. Bottom 8 in Atlanta. Nationals lost to Texas 5-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Full count, 3-2.
Trying to begin with the slider, all the way back to 3-2 now.
Remember, Don Mattingly did not have a lot of patience with Vance Worley. 3 2/3. In the 7-3 lead, he hooked him in the 4th. Right center. Ozuna calls, sets his feet, makes the catch. McCutchen holds, and Nick Wickren has the first 2 outs here in the 9th. And it's Adam Frazier who comes up.
Frazier, a couple doubles tonight. Both of them went to left field.
Frazier, a guy I told you coming up in the minor leagues, he's always had a good on-base percentage. 301 in the minor leagues.
He's been the #1 recipient of the playing time made available by Starling Marte and his suspension, taking full advantage of it. It's actually become their solution at the top of this lineup, hitting well over 300 now as their leadoff hitter.
Wickren gets a strike.
Pirates down to their last strike.
On the ground, picked up there. Colon steps on the bag. Ball game. And Miami impressively puts 12 runs up against the Pirates. Giancarlo Stanton hits one over the batter's eye. Tyler Moore hits 2 home runs. And the Marlins have taken the first 2 here in Pittsburgh with 2 left to play. A Friday night with fireworks coming. And the Fish a 12-7 win.